Bite-sized.
Welcome to another episode of Gaikoku Gamers. I'm Darryl Benson, and I'm here to talk to you guys about preferences so far in the next-gen console wars. So, we're curious to see where your camp is placed, per se. It's okay to have multiple systems, of course, but which one do you prefer? I've owned all three so far. I started off with the Nintendo Wii U, assuming as it came out first. I've bought the most Nintendo Wii U's out of any other console as well. I've only owned one of each of the other two. Right now I'm not too pleased with it. I like the system in general, but I gotta say that getting a little bored. I mean, there's no third-party support, and the first and second-party games that come out are once every blue moon. I know that we had Smash Brothers coming, and that's great. But one of the things I'm really concerned about right now is the fact that the 3DS version came out first, and the Wii U really needed that push. And I think a lot of people are going to justify not purchasing a Wii U because they already have the game on a 3DS. So I think that's not doing so well, and I also think that Bayonetta, if it's not selling in Japan, it's definitely not going to sell here. And Hyrule Warriors, I could honestly kind of care less about. I'm not a Dynasty Warriors fan. That's nothing to do with Nintendo or anything. That's just... I haven't liked that series since it debuted in the PS2 era. I just never understood what was so fun about it. It's this wave after wave after wave of enemies, and kind of got boring after a while. PlayStation 4 for me was a bit of a dud, frankly. Again, graphically wonderful. And I did like the share button. I will have to say that that was a nice little feature that I kind of miss sometimes. But the UI was horrible. And more importantly, the build quality of their components was horrible. For me, the system broke. I had to get a new system, and I went through 3 different controllers for either the R1 button sticking or the joysticks falling apart, and I treat all my stuff like mint condition. I mean, everything I own is in mint condition. And it was really kind of annoying, you know, to constantly be going through components. And another thing I really realized is that the PlayStation 4 almost has that weird, smooth type of textured feel on the back side of the controller. And that tended to go away completely after about a week. And I know it's that controller because I still have Nintendo 64 controllers from back in the day, and they still have that bumpy orange peel type of feel to it. And yeah, I don't know what it is about whatever plastic they're using, but it goes straight away. And it's really a shame because fresh out of the package, a PlayStation 4 controller feels really nice. But then after a while, it just kind of feels slimy. It's almost kind of what happened with the PlayStation 2 controllers. Those had the same effect. If you ever open up a brand new PlayStation 2 controller, it had that kind of matte, kind of textured feel to it, and after a week or two, it just became this slick, perfectly shiny, buffed-looking, just gross controller with all of your oils on it. And I haven't had that problem with the Xbox One controller. Also, well, I didn't really like the move light in the front. At least with my television screen, it would reflect the light right into the television screen. So unless the screen was really bright, like, you know, showing lots of blue or something like that, if it was a darker game, like when I was playing Warframe, I would always just see that type of shaped blue light right there in the center of the screen. It's kind of annoying. And that's just kind of my experience. I don't know. I just didn't have a very fun time with it. And I also, what I really didn't like about it at the end, which was why I got rid of it, was the fact that they never really came through with their promises. They were talking about things like being able to play burned Blu-rays and that type of stuff when the system launched, and yet I had it for months and months and didn't get any of that type of support. When I called Sony and asked them, I said, hey, you know, when is this coming? Because I purchased the system with several features in mind that aren't here yet, and we had a video that covered all those. the guy got angry with me that the fact that I was even asking the questions and told me to buy an Xbox One. So per Sony's recommendation, I bought an Xbox One, and I have to say I've been very happy with it ever since. At first I was very nervous, I'll be honest, because I don't I don't generally like Xbox anything. I had tried multiple times to go ahead and like the 360, and I couldn't. I didn't like the controller. I thought the bumpers were up too high. I kind of couldn't deal with that. The joysticks became uncalibrated like within a week. I don't know what kind of cheap things that they had, but you always got like that crawl like with your joystick where the camera just kind of creep up really, really slowly. I always had problems. Even with the nicer, newer controllers later on, I had those problems. You know, it didn't have Blu-ray support. It didn't have built-in Wi-Fi at first. You had to buy a $100 adapter. There were several reasons why I didn't like the system, and I just never got into it. I purchased many games for it, but it definitely was not my number one. My PlayStation 3 was number one last generation. Well, so far the tables, for me at least, have been turning. I really do prefer the Xbox One. The controller, the rough feel on the controller does not go away, which I like. The rumble feature in the joysticks, or not joysticks, in the triggers, I really love, especially with racing games like Forza. That really comes in handy. You can almost feel the car slipping through the triggers, so that's pretty cool. And I like the joysticks and their placement better in general. I found that first-person shooters, I can control things a lot easier. And another thing, I also realized that the rubber that Microsoft uses for their joysticks does not wear down. The Xbox One controllers have this little like ridge type of design on the outside, and it hasn't worn down at all. It's still just as mint condition as when I got it. I also like the well, I just like the whole controller in general. I like the face buttons. I like everything about it. Also, the bumpers, for the first time, for me, the bumpers are easy to hit without having to move my hand. Whereas before, I'd be playing with the triggers down here, or I'm sorry, the triggers down here, and I couldn't reach up like that. And now I can do both sets of triggers with both fingers. And by the way, that's something that I could not do either with the PlayStation 4 controller. To have to alternate between figuring each trigger and bumper and like that. So constantly when I was playing, I was going like that, and that's a sign of a badly designed controller ergonomically. You should be able to access all the buttons from one position, so I really like that. The thing's always on because whether it's TV or games, I'm always watching it through here. And frankly, I love the UI. The UI works a lot better, I think, than the PlayStation 4's. The only thing that I have to say that critically about the UI for the Xbox One is that the store is kind of a jumbled mess. It's very hard to find anything. But being said, I don't really buy a lot digitally, so that doesn't really bother me too awful much. The only things I seem to download digitally are the free Xbox One games that come monthly through their Gold program. And so yeah, I mean, definitely not how I expected to turn out this generation. I think from the beginning I had my doubts about the Nintendo Wii U just because I didn't like the Wii very much. But I love Nintendo and I figured I'd give them a shot. But I truly was a PlayStation 4 fan in the beginning, and I'm getting a call, so I'm going to end the episode. I'm Darryl Benson. This is another Bytesized episode. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to take this call. This is really embarrassing. See you later. Bye.